An Air Force major was arrested at the U.S. Capitol for calling impeachment for the president and vice president. Let's get to it.
Air Force Major Jason Watson. He was arrested last month on the steps of the U.S. Capitol after calling for President Trump and Vice President Vance's impeachment and removal from office over the war in Iran and other issues. And tonight is his first television interview since that arrest. And Major Watson, obviously, you have done this after incredible consideration. You've been in the Air Force for 17 years. You're in the Air Force. And you know that by choosing to speak out as you did in uniform, calling for the commander-in-chief's impeachment and removal from office, that carries grave consequences, violates the laws governing the U.S. military. But you chose to do it, knowing all of that. Tell me why.
Well, I think the most important thing for all of us to keep in mind is what is happening with President Trump is not normal. He has failed us, and not only is he a failure as president, he is flagrantly violating the Constitution, breaking the law, engaged in rampant corruption, and is killing Americans. And that is unacceptable to me. And it should be unacceptable to all of us. I feel like, unfortunately, many of us have gotten used to this, and we've normalized to this conduct, and we think that there's nothing that we can do about it. And one of the reasons I chose to use...
The government normalized a lot of things, though, before Trump got into the office. So, and he been in there for 17 years, so why he want to impeach him now? Shit, Joe Biden ain't do nothing. Why he ain't want to impeach Joe Biden?
The pseudonym of Just a Nobody was to underscore that you do not have to be somebody special to take action and reject this government. We can all do something about what's happening in our country. And I want to just inspire people and bring the conversation to impeach, convict, remove. And there are organizations out there that I joined with, Removal Coalition with Jessica Denson, and Citizens Impeachment with Kira Havens and John Boniface's Free Speech for People, that are not getting enough attention. And I want to try to spotlight them as much as I can and to inspire Americans to act, because I believe we can defeat this government if we just take a stand.
So, when you talk about that desire to inspire, you're not, of course, a somebody. You are a somebody, right? You're not an anybody. You are a somebody, right? You're a sitting major and in the Air Force. After your arrest, the military had placed you under a gag order. They restricted your movements. You're under investigation as you and I speak, and obviously the consequences you could face for speaking out. Because you are who you are, include court-martial, removal from the Air Force, loss of pay and benefits. I mean, you could even go to prison. And you knew all of that, right? You knew all of that when you made this decision to try to inspire others. How did you go through the thought process that made you willing to pay?
Yeah, I want to hear the thought process too.
Price that this may cost.
Nothing that is worth doing is something that you can do for free. Everything that is worthwhile is going to cost something. It's going to be hard. It's going to require sacrifice. And we are in an incredibly challenging time. And in order for us to get out of this situation, we all have to have courage. So for me to take action, if I don't sacrifice something, if I don't give something up, then it's just words, and words are easy to ignore. So if I don't put myself out there in a big way, then it's just noise. And there's plenty of noise that we're all listening to every day. There's plenty of people telling us the obvious truth, but there's no cost being paid. And there's a lot of ways to view that as cynically or skeptically or whatever the case may be, and just dismiss it and say, okay, you're not making...
He definitely media ready. That was a good answer for that. That was a good answer for that question. I ain't gonna lie.
Any difference. But we just have to be willing to accept that we can change what is happening in our country if we're just willing to pay a price for it. So all that I could do was ask myself, what's the highest price that I'm willing to pay?
But he not able to change nothing now because he not even in the position to change. Like, he in a position to speak up and change it, but like, now he ain't the major no more where you really could change it.
This is what I ultimately came up with. And it is absolutely motivated by my oath to the Constitution. But any American can make this choice. Any American can say, this government is intolerable, and I want a better future for my children, and I want to hand them a better country than I inherited. And that is ultimately a huge inspiration for me as well.
You mentioned the Constitution, you mentioned corruption, and I know you have specific reasons for why you feel this is necessary and why the president should be removed from office. It is obviously, it includes the war in Iran, but it is much more than that. But it is in the context of
Did
the
he
war.
not just want to go to war? Is that what's going on? He ain't want to go to war?
Or in Iran at this moment, right, that you are choosing to do this. What is it about the war and this commander-in-chief, President Trump's handling of it, that made you do this at this moment?
That's what I was saying in the beginning, because he been in there for 17 years. I don't know if he was major for 17 years, but he been in that 17 years. So at this point, why would you want to do it now?
So I know that there are some folks probably in your audience that have seen my interview with Jessica Denson. I talk about this a little bit. And it's important to just underscore that what is happening with the Iran war is very predictable strategically. And a lot of much smarter people than me knew that it would have gone pretty poorly. Like the closing of the Strait of Hormuz, that's known. And a lot of the consequences that we're seeing, there was probably advice that was being given to the President of the United States saying, this is what's going to happen if you do this. And he chose to do it anyways. And that's an important...
See what he said right there? If you the president in a different country telling you don't do this or we gonna do this to you, why would you listen? That's like bowing down, throwing the white flag. He talked about it and he did it anyways. He did not want to go to war.
Context to keep in
He's scared.
mind with all of this. But at the end of the day, it's also more important to remember that what he did was unconstitutional. It was an aggressive war of choice, that if we saw another country do that, we would probably look to our allies and say, what are we going to do about this? And you could make the comparison with what happened in Ukraine. That was an aggressive war of choice. And now we as a country, America, is choosing to do that with Iran.
When people hear the words print on demand, they pick.
Major Jason Watson, I appreciate your time very much, and I thank you for speaking out. Of course, you may say it's a nobody, but it certainly is a somebody and something that is going to matter for a lot of people. So thank you very much, and I appreciate your time in speaking to us tonight.
In the end of the day, he ain't want to go to war.